Hi, boys and girls. Welcome back to Relax and Read with Mrs. B. I have a question for you. Have you ever caught a cold? I'm sure it wasn't a fun experience for you. It's not the worst thing in the world, but no one tries to catch a cold, right? No one wants to catch a cold. I mean, there's sneezing and coughing involved, and there's the runny nose. You always have to be blowing your nose. So it's usually something that we would try to avoid. But in today's story, we're going to meet a raccoon who actually tries to catch a cold. I don't know if he knows what he's up against, but let's dig in and find out. Let's go. Little Raccoon Catches a Cold, written by Susan Canizares and illustrated by Christopher Denise. One morning, Little Raccoon woke up early. He looked outside and saw that the sun was shining. He took a deep breath and smelled the woods. He knew right away it was a perfect day to go outside to play. So he hopped out of bed very quickly and got dressed all by himself. He ran downstairs as fast as he could. Just as he reached the door, he heard his mother call out, "Little Raccoon, where are you going?" "Outside to play," cried Little Raccoon. "Not without your breakfast," said his mother. "You must have a healthy breakfast before you play. If you don't, you might catch a cold." So Little Raccoon sat down and had cereal, toast, and juice. When he finished, he jumped up to run outside. But before he reached the door, his father called, "Little Raccoon, where are you going?" "Outside to play," said Little Raccoon. "Not without a jacket," said Little Raccoon's father. "If you don't keep warm, you might catch a cold." So Little Raccoon ran back up to his room and what do you think he does next? I think he may grab a jacket. Let's see. Put on his favorite blue jacket. Now he was ready. Little Raccoon ran downstairs and almost bumped right into his friend Red Squirrel. "Let's go puddle splashing," said Red Squirrel. Just as they started to go, Little Raccoon's big brother called, "Little Raccoon, where are you going?" "Puddle splashing," he answered. "Not without your boots," said Little Raccoon's big brother. "If you don't keep your feet dry, you might catch a cold." Little Raccoon looked down and saw, what do you think he saw? Red Squirrel's green boots. So Little Raccoon stomped back upstairs to find his. He looked in his closet. They weren't there. He looked under his bed. They weren't there. He even looked in his toy box, but they were not there. He stopped and said, "Wait a minute. What if I can catch a cold? I'll trap him and put him in a box and lock him up tight." Little Raccoon got so excited he forgot all about his boots. He grabbed his sack and filled it up with things he could use to catch a cold. One more time. He ran downstairs. "Let's go," Little Raccoon said to Red Squirrel. He whispered softly, "We're going to catch a cold." And off they went, and they walked. Little Raccoon was busy looking. He looked up into the trees. He looked behind the bushes. He looked under some rocks. "What are we looking for?" Red Squirrel asked. "We're looking for a cold," Little Raccoon answered. "And I'm going to catch him with this." Little Raccoon reached deep inside his sack and what do you think he's going to catch a cold with? Pulled out his baseball mitt. Ha ha! Red Squirrel laughed. "You can't catch a cold with that." Oh, yes, I can, cried Little Raccoon. Wait and see. And he started to run around holding his baseball mitt high and waiting for Colt to fly by. Red Squirrel just watched. Then he ate his lunch. Finally, he said to Little Raccoon, You didn't eat any lunch. You can't catch a cold. Let's go puddle splashing. Not yet, said Little Raccoon. I'm going to get that colt and I'm going to catch him with this. So he reached deep inside his sack and pulled out a butterfly net. Red Squirrel laughed so hard he almost fell over backwards. You can't catch a cold with that. Oh, yes, I can, cried Little Raccoon. He took his jacket off and ran around swinging his butterfly net. But Red Squirrel was tired of watching Little Raccoon. I'm going puddle splashing myself, he said. He walked down to the edge of the stream. Here I go, he shouted. Come on, try it. Not me, said Little Raccoon. I'm still looking for a colt, and I'm going to catch him with this. This time he reached deep inside his sack, and what do you think he will attempt to catch a colt with this time? He pulled out his water pail. Red Squirrel couldn't stop laughing. You can't catch a colt with that. Oh, yes, I can, cried Little Raccoon. A colt can hide in the air, but he can't hide in the water. And he leaned down to the edge of the stream to scoop up some water. Just then, Little Raccoon remembered that he didn't have his rain boots on. His feet felt very wet, and he remembered he didn't have his blue jacket on. His arms felt chilly. Still, he stepped a little bit closer to the stream, but before he knew it, what do you think will be on the other side of the page? Make a prediction. Little Raccoon fell right in. Oh no. Oh no, cried Red Squirrel, and he rushed to help Little Raccoon get up. Little Raccoon was soaked. I guess you don't want to go puddle splashing anymore, said Red Squirrel. No, said Little Raccoon, and I don't want to catch a cold anymore either. Suddenly, Little Raccoon started to shiver. What do you think's happening, boys and girls? By the time they got back to his house, Little Raccoon couldn't stop shivering. Waiting out the door was his father. Little Raccoon, you are soaking wet. Where is your jacket? Little Raccoon wanted to say that he was trying to catch a cold with his water pail, but before he could answer, his father scooped him upstairs to his room and helped him. What a nice daddy Little Raccoon has. Put on his striped pajamas. Little Raccoon's big brother walked in. He gave Little Raccoon a hug and rubbed his feet. What a nice brother Little Raccoon has. Little Raccoon, he said, your toes are so cold. Didn't you wear your boots? Little Raccoon wanted to say that he was trying to catch a cold with his butterfly net. But before he could answer, his big brother scooped him up on his lap and helped him put on his fuzzy slippers. Then Little Raccoon's mother came in. Little Raccoon, she said, you left the house before I could pack up your lunch. Weren't you hungry? Little Raccoon wanted to say that he was too busy trying to catch a cold with his baseball mitt, but he knew that wasn't a good answer. So instead, he opened his mouth wide and let his mother give him, do you think it's an apple, an orange, waffles, a spoonful of hot soup? Thank you, I feel warmer now, Little Raccoon said. Can Red Squirrel and I go back outside? Little Raccoon's father started to say something, but he was interrupted by a great big sneeze. Little Raccoon's big brother started to say something, but he was interrupted by another big sneeze. Oh, Little Raccoon, laughed Red Squirrel. You couldn't catch a cold with your baseball mitt, or your butterfly net, or your water pail, but it looks to me like a cold caught you. What a fun story that was. Thank you so much for joining me today, boys and girls, and I will see you next time on Relax and Read with Mrs. B. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.